The championship will go to the final day. In the title fight and relegation is Mark Reynolds, the MVP, stood up to the task tonight, and so did Scotty Too Foxy. He did a pretty good job as well, but it was all about Mark Reynolds, man. A guy I don't really like. You know, he said about that whole Rangers thing, they should have had a penalty against him despite the fact that it was in the other half. But you know what, he may have got that wrong, but he was good tonight. He was very good. Easily man of the match. He was good. He was absolutely unreal. You know what? He was like every time, right? Dundee whipped the ball in. It was Reynolds clears. Reynolds heads it away. Reynolds gets it sorted. Reynolds blooters it out. So yeah, you know what? Brilliant. And literally, Cove Rangers had one chance and it went out for a corner and they didn't do much for it. That is literally all they had. They more or less played for a draw here, but there was a handball shout in the 53rd minute for Dundee. Definitely not a handball. I mean, I think it was just desperation from them, to be honest. But again, I don't blame them because they really wanted to win the day for obvious reasons. Of course, if they won, you know, it humps the pressure onto Queen's Park tomorrow. And of course, they don't want the title race going down to the final day. But, you know, Cove Rangers dealing, they've got their low block. Balls are getting whipped in, passed in. Mark Reynolds, man, balls are getting whipped in low. He's dealing with them. He was honestly unreal. With a few headers straight down the mouth of Scott Fox as well. Then we had an incident in the 85th minute with Glass and Marshall having a bit of like slabbering match down in like the bottom right hand corner, but there was nothing really made about it. Dundee have a shot for distance. It's a good save, but it takes a massive deflection, and like it's a weird one because it takes a massive deflection, but it doesn't actually take the pace out of the ball. But the deflection puts it down the centre of the goal, so you can clearly see that, you know, Big Foxy could have had a bad game here. Or not a bad game, a bad moment, so to speak, because he could have absolutely fucking went the wrong way here, but he manages to tip it over, and then from this, it hits the post, and then I believe it's Mark Reynolds again who clears it off the line, and then the whistle goes, and the Dundee fans let out a chorus of boos around the stadium. I can kind of actually see why it's justified. They went down last year. They really shouldn't be in a title fight with Queen's Park, right? And they're taking on like the worst team in the league. So if you look at it from that point of view, they've dropped 2 points to the worst team in the league. It seems like they've drew 3 games in a row now, after a pretty good run of form. And Queen's Park will have all the momentum. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I do want Queen's Park to get promoted. And of course, it goes to that big game on Friday between Dundee and Cove Rangers. Dundee and Queen's Park, title decider in Glasgow. Can he wait? But before we get to that, we'll have to look at the league table. And here is the league table. So Dundee, of course, get another draw. It moves them on to 60 points. So it doesn't actually matter what Queen's Park do tomorrow. A draw is pointless in their game tomorrow. They may as well go for it rather than draw. Because if you look at it, right, if you do the simple math, if Queen's Park draw tomorrow, then all that does is nothing. Because they can't... The only way for them to beat Dundee and to win the league is to beat Dundee in Glasgow next week if they draw or get beat. But if they win, a draw would be enough to do it. So therefore, I think they go all out for the win. I'm not saying like for the minute go, but if it's like the 70th minute and you're drawing, Queen's Park may as well go for it and make it easier for them next week. Because, you know, there could be a case where they don't want to completely, absolutely go for it against Dundee. So yeah, they've got to go for the win. But I do see the point though of say Partick Thistle and Ayr United both win. I don't know who Queen's Park actually play tomorrow. I should probably look into that. But yeah, I mean there is a crazy situation where Queen's Park don't finish in the top four. I mean, it's very unlikely just due to goal difference. I mean, it's incredibly unlikely because of Inverness's goal difference. But Partick Thistle and Ayr could easily pump them out. But man, we're guaranteed a last day title decider with 2 teams playing each other. Is that not fucking absolutely mental, man? That's quality. You cannot complain for your action today. Queen's Park are away to Greenock Morton. Of course, Dundee dropped points there not too long ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, guys. But anyway, 0-0. Mark Reynolds gets man of the match for me quite easily. And a point apiece here in Dundee. Phone a wee taxi for yourself.